The movie begins in North Caucasus in 2002. Igor and Senko are taken hostage by a group of extremists who quickly start filming a hostage video. Leading the group is the well-known rebel leader Shamil Basayev, along with his partner, Isha. Isha points out that Igor is a gold miner they captured a month ago, while Senko is a soldier. Suddenly, Shamil pulls out a gun and shoots Senko right away.
Ha ha, Shamil! It's not Sadola.
Igor is filled with anger, but just as Shamil turns the gun toward him, Isha steps in to stop him. Igor still has value that he can be traded for Isha's brother, who has been captured. Shamil agrees and tells his men to pack up and move out. Moving forward to Ingushetia in 2004, Major Kloyev arrives at a military base claiming to have important information. He warns that Shamil is planning a new attack. But once inside, Kloyev suddenly grabs a rifle and turns on the soldiers, launching a violent surprise attack from within. Meanwhile, in Moscow at FSB headquarters, Lieutenant Colonel Petrov shares alarming news. 5 advanced anti-aircraft missiles have been stolen. These missiles can hit targets up to 4 miles in the air, and Petrov is convinced that Shamil is the one behind it. On the other hand, Ravel, another officer, tries to calm things down. He explains that the missiles can't be used without a special activation code, and Shamil doesn't have it. But Petrov doesn't want to take that risk. If Shamil finds a way to activate them, it could be a disaster. So Petrov tells Ravel to gather a special team and head to the Caucasus to stop Shamil before it's too late. At the same time, Shamil and his men try to shoot down a Russian medical helicopter using one of the stolen missiles. But the missile fails and the helicopter escapes. Shamil is furious that he yells at his team, demanding to know what went wrong, then tells them to find someone who actually knows how to use these weapons properly. Later, Ravel visits Igor and asks him to join the mission. But as soon as Igor hears Shamil's name, he shuts down. The painful memory of Senko's death is still fresh in his mind. Even so, Ravel encourages him to think about it. The team needs his help. Meanwhile, Shamil's men manage to find a missile expert and bring him in. Shamil wants to know why the missile missed the target. The expert explains that the missiles are programmed not to attack Russian aircraft, since they recognize them as friendly and that system can't be turned off. But there's another way. They can use old Soviet missiles, which don't need activation codes. The problem is, those missiles are very hard to find and cost a lot of money. Shamil doesn't care. He says he'll pay whatever it takes to get them. In another location, Igor finally agrees to join the mission. He teams up with Ravel and Timur. Soon, Petrov picks them up, and during the ride, he explains what's going on. Just 4 days earlier, a helicopter was attacked. 2 missiles were launched, but both failed and exploded in the air. Those missiles came from Shamil. Petrov explains that Shamil isn't working alone. He has big support, including money from foreign sponsors. He's also suspected of robbing places across the region to fund his group. But suddenly, while they're driving, 2 unknown vehicles speed up and block their way. Meanwhile, back at headquarters, the team investigates the ambush. They find a dagger left behind at the scene. After some digging, they trace it to a blacksmith in Suinja, a village in North Caucasus. Luckily, they have a local contact there named Mahmud. Soon after, Igor and the team visit Mahmud. He confirms the dagger's origin and shares a name, Ismail Saliev. He's a mercenary who does anything for money. The issue is Saliev's untouchable. His uncle, Zur Kaitov, is the deputy minister, and the local police protect him.
Заур Каенов.
Племянник вице-премьера Кабардино-Балкарии.
So the team sets up surveillance on Saliev's house in Baksan. 2 days go by with no activity.
2 дня уже сидим. Ну, приехал Каенов, уехал.
Then, Out of nowhere, Deputy Minister Kaitov enters the house, proving it isn't empty. Minutes later, local police show up, asking questions about Saliev. And just when things couldn't get more intense, Shamil himself is seen nearby. Back at the headquarters, Petrov explains that Saliev is now wanted by local police too. Ravel and Petrov send Igor and Timur to check out Kaitov's residence. Once there, the local officers refuse to help, but everything changes when one of them recognizes Igor from the past. They then work together to arrest a man hiding in the house.
Пойдемте.
During questioning, the man gives them a new lead. Sultan Abrajimov is a courier who delivers money directly to Shamil. The team gets ready to track him down. At the same time, Shamil is hiding in a box truck, heading toward a secret hideout in the forest. His man, Murad, said they found an old Soviet missile in Georgia. No codes, no limits, and it's ready to use. But they don't have the money to buy it. Still, Shamil stays calm that he says their Arab supporters will send the money in 2 days. He calls Ilham to get ready for the pickup and tells the Shah to make sure the missile gets delivered from Georgia to their base. Meanwhile, the team at headquarters intercepts a phone call between Abrajimov and someone else. Turns out Abrajimov is picking up money sent from Arab sponsors on Lenin Street in Voronezh. There's no time to lose. The team heads out. Once they arrive, Timur acts as the driver while Igor and Ravel watch everything through a scope. Right on time, a vehicle shows up at an old workshop.
Тебя гость ждет, а ты ездишь где-то.
Abrajimov hands over a bundle of cash to one of Shamil's men. Ravel says it's the perfect moment to plant tracker. If they follow the money, it should lead them straight to Shamil.
Блин, а? Что ж ты будешь делать? Да я не знаю, она
They trail the vehicle and capture the courier named Omar.
Да, все получилось, спасибо.
Тебе привет из Москвы, Умар.
Under pressure, Omar finally says he gave the money to a guy named Ilham. He doesn't know much, but he gives them Ilham's address. Right away, Igor and Ravel head to Ilham's house while Timur watches from the back. Inside, they only find Ilham's drunk sister. No sign of him. Just as they step outside, Timur radios in and says Ilham just showed up and he's not alone. He brought backup. The team quickly moves in and captures Ilham. But instead of bringing him back to base right away, Igor wants answers fast. He pours gasoline on Ilham and threatens to set him on fire if he doesn't talk. The threat works. Ilham gives in and says Shamil is hiding in a village called Kichu. Now that they know where Shamil is, Ravel tells the team to bring Ilham back to headquarters while he contacts command to request air support and a strike team. During the ride, Igor keeps questioning Ilham. He wants to know how Shamil managed to steal the missiles. Ilham says Shamil has help from people inside the police and military. But as they talk, Ilham secretly slips out of his handcuffs. Suddenly, he attacks the driver. The vehicle spins out of control, the door flies open, and Ilham disappears. Meanwhile, in the village of Kichu, Shamil is hiding with his father. His father is upset and says he feels trapped in his own house. Shamil tells him it's for his protection because the Russians are coming, but his father doesn't agree. He says this war and violence go against everything they believe in. He refuses to leave and says he would rather die on his own land. Just then, Shamil gets a call from Murad. The sellers in Georgia want more money for the missile. Shamil doesn't even blink, but he tells Murad to pay whatever it costs. At the same time, a special forces team launches an attack on one of Shamil's strongholds. Command confirms the place is one of Shamil's main bases.
Первый пошел. О результатах доложить.
After the battle, the team finds some important papers, including flight path information. Igor tells Ravel to bring the documents back to headquarters immediately. Later, at the next briefing, Petrov hears that several bodies found at the site were burned so badly they couldn't be identified. So far, no one knows if Shamil or his father were among the dead.
Определить точно, кто Шамиль или его отец, или они тому, пока невозможно.
On the other hand, Shamil is still alive. He left the base before the attack. Now in hiding, he calls Isha to check on the missile delivery route from Georgia. Then the unthinkable happens. It's now September 1st. Ravel gets terrible news that Shamil's men have taken over a school in Beslan. Over 1,000 people, mostly children, are trapped inside. The team jumps into action, preparing for a rescue. Meanwhile, Isha and his family are at home, watching the shocking news live on TV. Armed men then stormed school number 1 and forced everyone inside. So far, 3 civilians have been confirmed dead. Reports say between 250 to 400 hostages are still inside the school. The scene then shows Major Kloyev hosting Shamil's men at his house. Hidden behind secret walls, Shamil himself is hiding in a secret room. Meanwhile, in Beslan, bomb exploded inside the school, killing dozens of people. Photos of the victims cover the walls, and grieving families fill the streets, carrying wreaths to the cemetery. Shamil issues a statement declaring war. He promises to conquer cities, even Moscow. He says they will not stop until Russia falls. Igor is deeply shaken. Then Timur arrives with a new lead. They intercepted a satellite phone call from the same number Shamil used at his father's house. They don't know who was on the other end, but they tracked where the call came from. The team starts looking through photos of local people, hoping to find a match. Soon, Igor spots Isha and goes straight to his house.
Жаркий день сегодня.
Isha is surprised to see him, but lets him in. Isha says he's no longer involved with Shamil and now lives a different life. Igor reminds Isha that they had freedom back in 1996. The war ended, Russian troops left, and they got autonomy and money to rebuild. But soon after, everything was looted, and starvation followed. Instead of fixing things, they begged for help from the Arab world. But the Arab donations didn't go to the people. They went to criminals and warlords.
Давай прекратим этот разговор.
Meanwhile, Murad brings news. The missile from Georgia is ready to be moved. Shamil's next target is a big event in Leningrad with world leaders present. But Shamil only wants the Russian president. At a mosque, Isha attends prayers. Afterward, the imam condemns terrorism and says those who kill in God's name aren't heroes. But as the words sink in, Isha starts coughing badly and steps outside. Meanwhile, back at headquarters, Igor looks into Major Kloyev's background. Kloyev served in Army Unit 57104 and earned a medal, but then he served in the same unit as Shamil. Even more suspicious, Shamil studied in Moscow for 6 months. It suggests Kloyev probably helped Shamil cross the border without being noticed. Ravel gives the go-ahead.
Ну ты езжай, только Тимура с собой возьми.
Студент?
Igor and Timur head to Kloyev's house, but the house is empty. Then Igor's phone rings that it's Isha, sounding urgent. He wants to meet immediately. Igor tells Timur to keep watching Kloyev's house while he follows this new lead. Igor meets Isha, who is still coughing heavily. Isha admits he hasn't seen Shamil in a long time and only hears from him when he needs something. The last time they spoke, Shamil asked him to help transport cargo from Georgia. When Igor asks about the delivery, Isha says he's still waiting for Shamil's next call. Back at Kloyev's house, the wait finally pays off. Timur sees Kloyev and his wife coming home and quickly tells Igor. Isha urges Igor to leave immediately, but promises to call if Shamil tries to contact him. Meanwhile, Shamil and Kloyev are on the move, packing up quickly. As night falls, Igor comes back to meet Timur, only to find him dead.
Тимур!
Shocked and angry, Igor calls for backup, but it's too late. Kloyev and Shamil have already escaped, leaving only Kloyev's wife behind. She is taken into custody. Soon after, Petrov arrives and scolds Igor for acting without permission. Ravel steps in and takes responsibility, saying he gave the order. Igor admits he shouldn't have left Timur alone to meet with Isha. Petrov then wants to know more about Isha. Then Petrov shares new information about a flight route between St. Petersburg and Moscow. If Shamil gets a missile, the damage could be terrible. Igor asks for permission to go undercover as a customs officer at the border. He plans to put a tracker on Isha's truck and follow it straight to Shamil. Later, Isha calls. Shamil told him to pick up the cargo in Georgia and meet in Tarska village in 3 days. Isha even sends Igor a picture of the truck he'll be driving. Igor suggests they plant explosives inside the truck and blow it up when Shamil is inside. Petrov asks how they will do that if Isha is driving. Igor explains the plan. Shamil expects Isha to take the main road, but Isha knows a shortcut that saves hours. They will use that time to intercept the truck, set up the explosives, and trap Shamil. The operation begins at the border. Igor, disguised as a customs officer, inspects the truck. While checking, he secretly attaches a tracker under the vehicle. Once he gives the signal, the truck is allowed to pass, and the headquarters tracks its location. Isha drives alone through twisty roads, tunnels, and paths along the river, often glancing in his mirror. A drone flies overhead, sending live footage back to the headquarters. Unexpectedly, a car suddenly blocks Isha's way. Murad steps out, and from this moment on, Isha must follow Murad's instructions.
Поехали.
Back at headquarters, the mood changes fast. Murad showing up in the truck was a big surprise that messes up the whole plan. The team quickly tries to adjust. Igor looks at the map, searching for the next stop. Watching the drone, they see Murad keeps drinking water under the hot sun. Then Igor spots a gas station about 90 minutes ahead. They move quickly. Ravel is flown there by helicopter, hoping to get there in less than 30 minutes. Just as planned, Murad finishes his water. When the truck stops for more, Ravel is already at the station, working undercover as an attendant. Murad goes inside to get drinks. Outside, Ravel quietly shows Isha a photo of Igor and warns him that the water has sleeping pills. Isha stays calm and keeps driving.
Будешь? Не надо.
As expected, Murad falls asleep and Isha speeds off toward the planned drop-off point, where Igor waits. When they arrive, Igor tells Isha to rest. Ravel then checks the cargo and finds missiles and guns, just like they feared.
По списке 30 человек положил.
They plant explosives and a hidden camera inside the truck. Igor then gives Isha one last task: finish the delivery. The plan is simple. When Isha gets to the spot, he must leave the truck and walk away within 1 minute. If he wipes his face with both hands, that's the sign to blow up the truck. Igor promises they won't detonate without that signal, so he agrees and drives off.
Они позаботятся о моих дочерях.
Конечно. Но я тебе обещаю. Мы не взорвем, пока ты не дашь знак. Понял?
Hours later, Murad wakes up panicked. Isha tells him they're almost there. Suddenly, the truck breaks down in the middle of the road and make headquarters panics. Traffic builds up and local people crowd around. Isha tries to restart the engine, but it won't start. He tells Murad to call Shamil. Unexpectedly, the drone loses signal and the headquarters can't see what's happening. Soon, Shamil's men arrive with a tow truck. They tow the cargo away while Isha asks if he can leave. Murad says no because Shamil wants to meet him face to face. The truck reaches its final stop. Shamil and Major Kloyev arrive. Shamil thanks Isha and tells his men to open the cargo. Through the hidden camera, headquarters watches as Shamil and Kloyev climb inside. Meanwhile, Petrov urges Igor to blow up the bomb, but he refuses because he's waiting for Isha's sign. But time is running out. Isha, coughing up blood, finally gives the signal, but instead of running away, he sits next to the truck. Igor is torn but determined that he makes the call, and the bomb explodes with a huge blast. Russian forces rush in. Fires burn wildly. Debris flies everywhere. The team finds Isha's body in the wreckage. As a last tribute, Igor fires a single shot into the air. Petrov then gathers the team and orders them to go home. The film ends. So the moral of the story is, never give missiles to guys who skip the manual, or everyone ends up chasing trucks and blowing stuff up.